Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke, and if this is your first time watching, welcome to your first episode of Swoop Luke. I try my best to dissect everything Collingwood, and today's no different. Alright, play the intro. So today is round 2 eve, and the Pies take on Richmond tomorrow night at the MCG, and I'm expecting over 85,000 to attend that game. The Pies come off a 6-day break after facing Geelong last week, and Richmond the full 7. It's going to be a good test for the Pies and seeing how they bounce back from the abysmal performance against Geelong in round 1. So the last time Collingwood and Richmond played was last year's preliminary final, where Collingwood halted any chance of a back-to-back Richmond premiership, thanks in part to a 39-point lead, Cox's 3 goals, De Goey's 4 goals, and an all-round good team performance. So we know last week was a bit up and down. We played very poorly against Geelong. We did do some good things, but the negatives just outweighed them. We know the Collingwood boys would want to bounce back against a ranceless Richmond team that has just been dominating the competition for the last couple of years. Richmond's round 1 game was against Carlton. They kicked off the season. After a 5-goal fast start and keeping Carlton to no goals in the first quarter, they took the foot off their brake a little bit, let Carlton have a whiff of it, but then put the foot back down and saw out the rest of the game. The ins and outs this week, just one change for Collingwood. Callum Brown comes out, who obviously didn't show enough last week, and replacing him is Levi Greenwood, which is a great move. Missed him last week as that tagging role, but we know he's going to go to Dustin Martin this week. So Richmond's outs are a bit unfortunate. Rand's doing his ACL, out for the rest of, out for around 12 months. Bashir Hooley out injured as well, and Bolter dropped. But in comes Markov, Alice, and Castagna. So the key areas and matchups, I think the game's going to be won and lost in the midfield. I know that's a very obvious thing to say, but the Magpie midfield of Treloar, Beams, Steele, Pendles, De Goey when he's in there, they're going to want to bounce back from their substandard performance last weekend against Geelong. They'll be out to prove that they are the best midfield in the competition, but they've got a lot to prove against Richmond's midfield, who have just been dominating, like I said, for the last few years. Another key area is how Richmond cover Rance's vacant spot. We know what Cox did last year. We know Mychek's a big boy as well. So it's going to be up to the likes of Loston and Asprey to either play 2-on-1 with Cox, or someone's going to be that floating defender, much like Rance was. But in spinning that around, Richmond's forward line is just as dangerous. Now with Tom Lynch in the mix, Jack Rewalt there, and we know Dustin Martin comes down and can kick a bag if he wants to. Darcy Moore, Roughhead, Howe, Maynard, they've all got their work cut out for them. The actual key matchup that I'm most looking forward to is Greenwood and Martin. We know Greenwood's got a bit of mongrel about him, so he's just going to go in hard at Martin, who had his colours lowered in the prelim. He's going to come out firing to prove that he's still one of the best midfielders in the competition. Another matchup that I'm looking forward to is how Grundy responds to Nankervis, because we know Nankervis can get around the ground and provide that leading target if he has to. Grundy will want to put last week behind him, and he'll just be all guns blazing tomorrow night. So my final prediction and my big call. I do think that Collingwood will win tomorrow night. Not going to be by the lofty margin that I set last week. I think by about 2 and a bit goals, so about 14 points. It's going to be a hard-fought contest. It's going to be very exciting to watch. My big call for this week is that De Goey is going to bounce back from his performance last week and kick 4 goals like he did in that prelim. Also a special mention to Lyndon Dunn, who will be making his return from an ACL injury with the VFL boys tomorrow afternoon. So that's it from me today. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me who you think's going to win, how much they're going to win by. In the meantime, go Pies, swoop you later.